In less than 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can have wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto along with a full touchscreen compatible with your original iDrive system on your BMW X3. Let's get started. Alright, starting off, this is the first panel that we're going to be removing, so you can try it out. I like you go from the bottom. Take this thing out. There's going to be one connection behind here for your start-stop, and this is going to be two plugs behind here. Get those plugs out, and this panel will sit on the side. And we'll start with removing the very bottom panel. You can get your hand behind here, pull it out. There's one connection underneath here for your ambient lighting. Get those out, and then we can start removing this fascia. Now to remove this fascia, there's connections behind here that we're gonna undo, but before that we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Torx 20 to get this out. Pull the connection out from behind, and we'll move on to removing the big radio behind here, the NBT radio. Now to get these connections out, you can just press this part here. You'll see it's a slightly raised one. Once you press it, it's going to allow for you to take this out. Do the same on the other side, and this panel will sit on the side. Then we can undo 4 Torx 20, remove all the connections from behind the radio, and the radio will sit on the side. Next thing we're going to be doing is removing the original screen, as we're going to be replacing this with this new screen. Now the screen screws here are Torx 20 as well, but they're different size, so make sure you don't mix them with the radio and the fascia screws. Now these are all of the wirings that come from behind the NBT stereo. Now the important one that we're going to be looking here is this part with the conduit. Is the green wiring, that's your fiber optics. So that's what's running the sound into your car system, which we're going to take out. Now to take this out, you can just pull this tab up and slide it out. It's a bit hard to do with the camera in one hand. Once you have that out, that's going to get transplanted into the new one. Now what I've done here is just undo those two screws and then only one plug behind. This is NBT, so it's a 6-pin. This thing can power the screen as well as the display signal, so there's no separate cables for the powering. Now the next part we're going to be removing is the A-pillar to run our GPS down there and the microphone up there. So let me quickly go ahead and take this out. Now before doing that, what I'm going to do is pull the weather strip back a little bit. Give me a good axis and make sure I'm not prying on just one part. Otherwise that might possibly snap your A-pillar. You don't want that. So slowly take your time, get this out. Once that is out, we'll mount the GPS there and mic there, and I'll see you in the next clip. Now for the A-pillar, there's one big hard metal clip up top, 2 plastic clips along the line. So that's all you have to get out. Now in order for me to fish my wiring from there to there, it's gonna go behind the screen. So what I'm gonna do now is take this side panel out just using a soft plastic trim tool. And once I have mounted my GPS here, mount my microphone here in a clear vision from the driver, running all the way along the A-pillar going to the unit. The GPS is going to be mounted there, and then both of the wirings are going to get fished together to behind the screen. Alright, so with all of that run to the center of the screen, the next part we're going to be doing is running an aux cable from here all the way underneath to the screen output. So one of the connections coming out of the screen is an audio out that, in case of BMW, needs to be connected to your aux cable there. Now in order to do that, what I'm gonna do is make a small incision here, get my aux cable out underneath, go straight in all the way there up top, and then come and connect to the connection. Once I have run my aux cable from here all the way there, I'll show you where it's gonna connect, and then we'll start doing all the plug and play for all the rest of the wiring. So what I've done is I've run all of the plugs there, plug my quad lock in here, running all the wire from behind the radio all the way up to the screen. And then you can see here, this is where your LVDS plug is gonna connect. That's my microphone harness. That one is the USB, and that's the main power. All of that's gonna get connected there. That's the Wi-Fi antenna, and that's the GPS. So I'm quickly gonna go ahead and plug all of this in, and then this will just slide back exactly how the original screen did. You don't need to worry about doing any kind of modification to make the screen fit. Once that is done, you can go ahead and plug everything back in to the radio just like the way it came out in the initial disassembly process. Once all of that is done, put your radio back in, the climate control back on, and the AC vents back on, and then we can start testing and do some settings, make sure the sound's working, make sure the audio is working, the call's working, all of that. And once we're done with all of that, we can go ahead and show the features for the unit. Alright, so the screen is in spot, the radio is in spot. I'm gonna go ahead and plug the climate control back in, as well as the bottom ambient light panel and the main panel. Turn the car on, make sure there's no warning lights. That means I've not forgotten to plug anything back in. Apart from that, we'll go ahead and test for our sound, radio, music, calls, everything. Once I'm done testing the sound aspect of the things, I'll show you what settings I'm going to be doing to make sure I have the best audio quality when making calls. Alright, so now time for the most important part of the install. That was epic. Now let me go ahead and start this system and just pray to God that this whole thing works. Woohoo, look at that. All right, so you guys ready to see how crazy quick this system is? Have a look at that. Have a look at that, guys. Insanely responsive. All right, so although this is a full touchscreen unit, I like to use dial a little bit old school. So I'll go into settings, in my reversing system settings, and select your original camera. So reverse camera type is the original camera. Now I have to restart the device for this to take effect. So I'm quickly gonna go ahead and set the time and date and all those things. Once all of that is done, I'm gonna connect my phone, test for call, test for music, everything. Make sure everything is 100% before the installation is complete. All right, so just testing for my CarPlay. My phone's connected. Just going back here into my Z-Link 5. You can see the CarPlay is up and running. Very, very quick and responsive, very fast system. You can see how fast the whole thing's moving. Insanely good. All of my steering wheel controls are working. My calls, skip track, everything. My dial's working. My touch is working. No issues at all with the whole system. Crazy good system, guys. Now if you guys want a DIY kit for this system, you can buy it on www.westernautocustoms.com.au, and if you're not sure what kit you need, you can send me an email on info@westernautocustoms.com.au. Or if you want me to do an install like this, you can send me an email, give me a text, or call me on 0475 469 577. We are based here in Melbourne, Victoria. We are mobile, we come out to you. If you want this system, send me an email, give me a text, give me a call, whatever. Let's get CarPlay onto your car. Peace.